Hare Rama, Hare Hare. We continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 10. Does anyone remember what we read yesterday?
Hare Krishna, we were reading about like how Lord Vishnu appeared and he was instructing the demigods to go to the Dichi and ask for his body. And he also said that, don't worry, you can ask Ashwani Kumaras to go and ask for the body because he's quite warm to them and he has a lot of love for them. And then you go and then the Vishwakarma will take his body and make a Vraj, and that Vraj will have Vraj, that weapon will have all my power, and then you can kill Vṛtrāsura with it. And then he also told that why he specially asked Ashwani Kumaras. There was a story about like how Ashwani Kumaras wanted the transcendental knowledge from the Dichiji, and then how the Dichiji was busy doing the yagyas. And then he said that you come later, and then Indra appeared, and Indra said that you shouldn't give them the power because they are they're like the medicines. The Ashwini Kumaras are for the medicines, and you shouldn't give them that knowledge. And so the Ashwini Kumaras got to know, and they came back again, and they asked that, and then the Dichiji told him about like how Indra has threatened him that he will cut his head. And then he said, don't worry, we'll provide you with the horse head. And then later when Indra comes, he can cut your head and then we'll give you the other head. So that's how he was specially very compassionate towards the Ashwani Kumaras. And so they were asked to get it. And then he also said that, don't worry. Lord Vishnu also told them that, don't worry. Vṛtrāsura is also one of my devotees, though he has so much power that he can swallow all the three worlds, but because he's my because he's my devotee, so he doesn't envy anybody and he'll not harm, rather he will be on your side. So he also glorified the devotee Vṛtrāsura. And then later, the next chapter 10, it was about how and then after that, Vishnuji just disappeared after giving the instructions, and then how all the demigods went to the Dichiji and then they asked, and then in the beginning he said, no, I will not give you, because he was just testing and he wanted to have the knowledge from them, the dharma knowledge. So he said, no, everybody loves the body so much. How can I give my body? See, people love their body and then they love their dharma and then they protect their wealth. So I don't want to give you. But then because he was just teasing them, and in a funny way, in a way, he just wanted to have the knowledge from them. So then he agreed, and then he said, okay, you can take my body. And then you also mentioned about the two kind of people whom you should go with. The one who always are ready to give their from whom you should ask for donation. If they're not able to give it, then you shouldn't ask about them. And then one is the one who gives. So like if you are eligible to give, you have that much wealth, and if somebody approaches you, then you should give. You should give the charity. So then you mentioned about these two kind of people, and then you also mentioned that how Lord Caitanya, and then you also mentioned that how Lord Caitanya and the 6 Goswamis, and like how they worked, though they were so well-to-do families, and they still worked for the betterment of humankind because they wanted to give themselves for the betterment of everything. And yeah, and then you also mentioned one beautiful story about like the devotee, that how the devotee doesn't care because even if he's living in this body, he's serving Krishna, and he's not scared of death, because even if he'll go in the heaven, and then he'll still serve Krishna. So about those 4 persons, like how they were blessed by the Rishi, and this is what we read yesterday.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, the devotee, he goes to the spiritual world. And
so
he serves Krishna
right?
there, not the heavenly planets, but spiritual.
The spiritual. And then he's not scared of death also.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah. And then it was very nice that you remembered that how the devotee is just, willing to sacrifice himself. For who? For us, for our welfare, so that we can become Krishna conscious. And so we could see Prabhupada's compassion over there, Prabhupada's mood, that how he also sacrificed himself to give us Krishna consciousness, to give us these beautiful books, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, in a language that we can understand. Okay, thank you so much. And so we are going to continue reading Etavan Avyayo Dharma
Etavan avyayo dharma
Punya Shloke Rupasitaha
punya shloke upasitaha
Yobhuta Shoka Harshabhyam
yobhuta shoka harsa
Atma Shochati Hrishyati.
Atma
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. If one is unhappy to see the distress of other living beings and happy to see their happiness, his religious principles are appreciated as imperishable by exalted persons who are considered pious and benevolent. One generally follows different types of religious principles or performs various occupational duties according to the body given to him by the modes of material nature. So we can see, the body we are getting depends on how we are influenced by the modes, how the modes are acting on us. Based on that, we are going to get our next body, or based on that, we are also in our current body. In this verse, however, real religious principles are explained. Everyone should be unhappy to see others in distress and happy to see others happy. Atmavat sarva bhuteshu. One should feel the happiness and distress of others as his own. It is on this basis that the Buddhist religious principle of non-violence, ahimsa parma dharma, is established. We feel pain when someone disturbs us, and therefore we should not inflict pain upon other living beings. Lord Buddha's mission was to stop unnecessary animal killing, and therefore he preached that the greatest religious principle is non-violence. So feeling paradukha dukhi, that's how a Vaishnava is. A Vaishnava, he suffers when he sees others suffering, and he's happy when he sees others happy. So Prabhupada is explaining here that Lord Buddha also came for this, because otherwise the animals were being unnecessarily killed. One cannot continue killing animals and at the same time be a religious man. That is the greatest hypocrisy. Jesus Christ said, "Do not kill," but hypocrites nevertheless maintain thousands of slaughterhouses while posing as Christians. Such hypocrisy is condemned in this verse. One should be happy to see others happy, and one should be unhappy to see others unhappy. This is the principle to be followed. Unfortunately, at the present moment, so-called philanthropists and humanitarians advocate the happiness of humanity at the cost of the lives of poor animals. That is not recommended herein. This verse clearly says that one should be compassionate to all living entities, regardless of whether human, animal, tree, or plant. All living entities are sons of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what is mentioned is all living entity. So living entity does not mean only human being, Prabhupada is explaining. Living entity means all living entities, trees, plants, aquatics, the fish, the birds, the animals, and of course, including the human being also. Because each of us are part and parcel of Krishna. Each of us are sons of God, children of God. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 14.4, Sarva Yonishu Kaunteya Murtaya Sambhavantiya Tasam Brahma Mahad Yonir Aham Bija Prada Pita. Krishna is saying he is the seed-giving father. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. So he's saying all species, not only for the human being, but all living entities. The different forms of these living entities are only the external dresses. Every living being is actually a spirit soul, a part and parcel of God. Therefore, one should not favor only one kind of living being. A Vaishnav sees all living entities as part and parcel of God. So Vaishnav sees everyone connected to Krishna and everyone in relation to Krishna, not only the human beings, but also the animals, the trees, the birds, everyone. Krishna himself says, I hear Prabhupada is quoting 518 and 1854. Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Cheva Shvapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater outcast. So this is how someone who is actually learned sees others. He does not see the outward dress. He does not identify the different of the dresses, but he sees everyone as a spirit soul, and he sees that the Paramatma is in everyone's heart. Whether it be a cow, an elephant, a Brahmana, a dog, or a dog eater, but he's seeing the spirit soul in everyone, and he's seeing the Paramatma in everyone. So a Brahmana, a learned, one who is truly learned, a pure devotee, although he sees everyone on equal level, but he will interact with different people differently. You know, if he sees a tiger, he understands the tiger is also spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. But he's not going to go and hug a tiger because he knows otherwise the tiger will eat him. And similarly, when he sees another devotee, yeah, he is going to greet him nicely, be friends with him, have a loving relationship with him, you know. So although he sees everyone equally, he deals with people differently, just for practical reasons. Brahma Bhuta, but also we hear the story of Haridas Thakur, that he was in the cave and there was a snake living in that cave. And the devotees who would come to meet Haridas Thakur, they would be afraid of the snake. So they kept telling Haridas Thakur that. So then Haridas Thakur decided, okay, he's going to leave the cave the next morning. Because he saw the snake is also, you know, he's part of Krishna. He didn't want to bother the snake. He was living together in the same cave. But the snake understood that Haridas Thakur is going to move out. So he instead moved out. In the night, he left the cave so that the other devotees could come and meet Haridas Thakur without any fear. So Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na shochati na kankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labhate para. One who is transcendentally situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. So one who is Brahman realized, one who understands he is a spirit soul, he's understood this knowledge. Then he is equal to everyone. He is seeing everyone as spirit soul. And he does not lament. He's not lamenting because he knows he has nothing to do with the material world. He has no more material desires because he's understood he's not the body. And he's understood he's part and parcel of Krishna. So he engages in pure devotional service, only for the pleasure of Krishna favorably, without any material desire. A Vaishnav, therefore, is truly a perfect person because he laments to see others unhappy and feels joy at seeing others happy. A Vaishnav is paradukha dukhi. He is always unhappy to see the conditioned souls in an unhappy state of materialism. Therefore, a Vaishnav is always busy preaching Krishna consciousness throughout the world. So why the devotee is tirelessly, painstakingly wanting to give Krishna conscious to everyone? Because he understands that Till the time we are in the material world, we will always suffer. So he wants everyone to be happy. He wants to remind everyone that, oh, you have an eternal relationship with Krishna. Don't be unhappy here. Go to the kingdom of God and be always happy, be always joyful. One such Vaishnav, he left his body 2-3 days ago, Gopal Krishna Goswami. His health was not good. Everyone would tell him, slow down, slow down. But he said, no, I'm Prabhupada's man. I'm a soldier for Prabhupada. I'll continue preaching. And he was tirelessly preaching, tirelessly, giving Krishna consciousness to everyone. And he set up so many, 17 centers in Delhi, and how many temples? 15 or 17, something like that. So many temples in Delhi, so many centers where young people, young men who are working, they can have a morning program. During the day they go out to work. Then again they come back in the evening and again have Bhagavad Gita classes. So they have good association. And Gopal Krishna Maharaj, he was the one when he came to India, when he joined Prabhupada. Prabhupada sent him to India. That time there were no books in India. In India, that time, there was no paper being given. Everything was controlled by the government. Everything was in ration. And the books were also not there. Then Prabhupada told him, you print the books. So he somehow or the other got the paper and started the printing of this transcendental books in India. So he's done great, amazing, amazing service. And he would sell container upon container of book at one time. He would distribute, I should say, not sell, distribute at one time. Very, very powerful preacher, very powerful personality. So, continue.
Hare Krishna.
Did anyone have any questions? Yes, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I just wanted to add here, like you're saying, some Vaishnav just passed 2-3 days ago, and he was still tirelessly working for the welfare of everyone. I remember someone even shared about Prabhupada the same once when he was sick, and he still asked for the other devotee who was just a little sick. How is he doing? Even though Prabhupada was very, very much, weak or so. And I can also relate with this, because now we just recently read about we should in fact chant more enthusiastically and do more service when we are in distress. And also like how Dadichi mentioned yesterday, that in fact, the death is more painful and we lose our consciousness. So we have to remember that chanting continuously and, in fact, doing it more loudly while we are in distress would help us to stay in consciousness. So many things, yes, so many things, just keep telling us that please keep chanting. Like we are saying that, oh, so many earthquakes are happening here and we are chanting. No, this point, what Dadiji says is actually true. We lose our consciousness. I'm like, earthquake happened. First thing I'm looking for my near ones and loved ones. Are they okay? I'm not in the consciousness of, thinking of Krishna will take care of me, and I'm not fully surrendered. This really reminds when Dadiji says that it's a very painful death and that we lose our consciousness. So not only ego, lust, anger, and greed, they take away our consciousness and we behave whimsically, but also at the time of death. So it's not very easy. So we have to continue to chant all the time, continue to chant tirelessly, continue to serve and do things for others' welfare. Just wanted to add this. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Yes.
Krishna, Shilpaji, I just wanted to add about Gopal Krishna Maharaj that he is also the guru, the initiation guru of Madhavas. So
Oh, yeah.
in a few days back, when he was well, he wasn't very well, but he was in a good condition. Then he sang Sri Radha Madhav. They sang with him. It's a beautiful bhajan, like we all know how beautiful it is. And it's in his voice. they recorded this. Madhava's recorded this bhajan with him.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a
Actually, I was
beautiful,
when
beautiful
I was
bhajan.
posting this week when I posted Radha Madhav,
I heard
I
that
was
one. That
looking at
was
I
seven.
would yeah, I was hearing that, but then I thought, okay, since y'all are gonna practice it, that's more like into
Yeah,
a song. I'll share
yeah,
it. Yes, thank you so
yeah.
much.
Because
Thank you.
when he's singing, it's his heart.
Yeah,
It is
so
so
true.
powerful that tears roll down your eyes no matter what. You feel the love of Krishna in his voice. And like I still remember that all his lectures are coming in, like how he said that I love that Rolex watch is only my property. I have nothing else. Only the Rolex watch, which what Prabhupada gave to me, that's only my property. Nothing else. I don't have anything. So like he he was an amazing person, yes. No doubt how you mentioned so beautifully about it. So
Thank you. Thank you. I was hearing that about his last will, about his will they were reading when his last darshan. So he said
yeah,
in that he says, my only properties are my deities, and
yeah,
he wants the deity worship to carry on. He said, I have nothing else. I have no
yeah.
other property, only my
Mm,
deities, and he requests
mm,
that they be worshipped in the temples in which he was in charge of in Delhi,
yeah,
just so that the deity worship can go on properly. And he was really he used to do his deity worship every morning with a lot of love and a lot of attention. And he himself, even though his health was so bad, he would every morning do Mangal Aarti, be at the
mm,
altar, do the Mangal Aarti every morning
mm,
in the temple. So
mm.
amazing personality. Mm.
Yeah, even a temple
Certainly
even
the
a
great
temple on
Lord's
Sunday
words.
they did.
Huh?
They talked about him. Yeah, Baldev
So
Prabhu talked about him. He showed a video, and they all gave the condolences, and like they all prayed for him, that how he glorified, everybody glorified him. So it was and oh yes, very important thing. Even Mukunda Prabhu said that they had the good fortune to meet him when they went to New Delhi. So
wow.
they had that good fortune. Bhavnaji and Mukunda Prabhu had the good fortune to meet them, and they were telling their experience that he was so kind. He he was so much like like he used a special word that he cared for everybody so much and so friendly. He was so friendly. He said that he didn't knew me. He just met me, but he was so friendly and so nice to me. It didn't feel like that I was meeting him for the first time.
Wow.
So
Amazing.
yeah, they mentioned that.
Um,
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. So we'll continue back. Aho dainyam, aho kashtam,
Aho dainyam, aho kastam,
Kashtam,
parake shana bhangure,
parakeshwara
Bharateshana
bhandure,
Bhangure,
yan nopa kuryat asmarther,
yadna
Yadno
upyat
Pakaragyat
aswartham,
Aswarte,
mritya swajanat swagyati vigrahe.
nritya swajyat
Adhyavagyati
vigrahe.
Vigrahe.
This body, which is eatable by jackals and dogs after death, does not actually do any good for me, the spirit soul. It is usable only for a short time and may perish at any moment. The body and its possessions, its riches and relatives must all be engaged for the benefit of others, or else they will be sources of tribulation and misery. So we can see such a great magnanimous personality that they choose, because body is so dear to us. And he's saying, no, body should be used for others. Otherwise, what's the use of it? Anyway, it's going to go at any moment, just as Deepika mentioned about earthquakes. Purport. Similar advice is also given in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 22, Text 35. Etavat janma safalyam dehinam iha dehishu praner arthe dhiya vacha shreya acharanam sada. It is the duty of every living being to perform welfare activities for the benefit of others with his life, wealth, intelligence, and words. This is the mission of life. So that's what Bhagavatam is saying, that it is a duty. It's our duty to benefit others. As Lord Chaitanya has also given us a service, he said, become a guru on my behalf. It doesn't mean to get a title or anything, but what he's saying is spread Krishna consciousness to others. In some way or the other, whatever way, we each have our own talents, whatever way we can. Give Krishna consciousness to others. This is the mission of life, one's own body and the bodies of his friends and relatives, as well as one's own riches and everything else one has, should be engaged for the benefit of others. So we may not be able to do it completely, but at least we can do a little. We can start somewhere. Bhagavatam is saying that we should do it completely, but let's begin. A journey begins with one step. This is the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as stated in Caitaniya Caritamita Adi Leela 941. Bharata Bhumi te haila manusya janmayar, janma sarthaka kari karapara upakar. One who has taken birth as a human being in the land of India, Bharatvarsh, should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all other people. So one may say, well, I was not born in India, so I don't need to. Well, Bharatvarsh, the whole planet was called Bharatvarsh at one time. So people born in India and people born on this planet Earth, we have this duty towards Lord Chaitanya. The word upakuryat means para upakar, helping others. Of course, in human society, there are many institutions to help others. But because philanthropists do not know how to help others, the propensity for philanthropy is ineffectual. They do not know the ultimate goal of life, Shreya Acharanam, which is to please the Supreme Lord. If all philanthropic and humanitarian activities were directed toward achieving the ultimate goal of life, to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they would all be perfect. Humanitarian work without Krishna is nothing. Krishna must be brought to the center of all our activities, otherwise no activity will have value. So Prabhupada is explaining what is this paropkar that Lord Chaitanya is saying, right? Benefit others in a way that Krishna is pleased. Work for others. Connect everyone to Krishna. Because each of us have forgotten our eternal relationship with Krishna. We have forgotten it. So we have to revive our relationship and then help others to revive their relationship with Krishna. Engage everyone in chanting, give prasad, give books. There's so many ways now. There's more and more different ways. Each of us have different talents and how we can spread Krishna consciousness. Shri Badaraya Neruvacha.
Badarayane Uvacha
Evam Krita Vyavasito.
Evam Krita Vyavasato
Dadyan Arthavanastanam.
Tatyan Atharvanastanam
Pare Bhagavati Brahmani.
Pare Bhagavati Brahmane
Atmanam Sanayan Jaho.
Atmanam Jaho.
Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, Dadichi Muni, the son of Atharva, thus resolved to give his body to the service of the demigods. He placed himself, the spirit soul, at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and in this way he gave up his gross material body made of 5 elements. So he fixed his mind at the lotus feet of Krishna, as indicated by the words Pare Bhagavati Brahmani Atmanam Sanayan. Dadiji placed himself as spirit soul at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this regard, one may refer to the incident of Vṛtrāsura's leaving his body as described in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.13.55. Vṛtrāsura analytically divided his gross material body into the 5 different elements of which it was made: earth, water, fire, air, and ether, and distributed them to the different reservoirs of these elements. In other words, he merged these 5 elements into the original Mahatattva. So what happened was Vṛtrāsura, after he was instructed by Vidura, he left home and he became a mystic yogi. He was doing meditation. And he became so expert in his meditation that this gross material body, which this body is made of, he merged those earth, water, air, fire, ether into the total Mahatattva. Because after all, earth, water, fire, ether, it's existing everywhere, right? Our body is also made of it, and it's also these elements are existing outside us. By identifying his material conception of life, he gradually separated his spirit soul from material connections and placed himself at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The example given in this connection is that when an earthen pot is broken, the small portion of the sky within the pot is united with the large sky outside the pot. Mayavadi philosophers misunderstand this description of Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, Sri Ramanujacharya Swami, in his book Vedanta Tattvasar, has described that this merging of the soul means that after separating himself from the material body, made of 8 elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, false ego, mind, and intelligence, the individual soul engages himself in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his eternal form, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So because someone may think, oh, since you merged yourself into the elements, now you don't exist anymore, or that you have become the Supreme Brahman. But Ramanujacharya is explaining that when we separate ourselves from the body, then we understand that we are pure spirit soul. And what does the pure spirit soul do? Engage in devotional service to Krishna, to Lord Vishnu. So that's what the devotee does then. After he separates himself from the identifying with the material body, with the gross elements. So we are thinking we are the body, we are the body. You know, we have so many designations. I am the body, I'm born in this country, I'm of this gender, I belong to this group, so many things. But actually, what are we? The pure spirit soul. He identifies himself, I'm servant of God. Lord Chaitanya says, Gopi Bharatur Padakamalayur Das Dasanu Dasanu Das. That servant of the servant of the servant of who? Of the master of the gopis. Not directly servant of Krishna, but servant of the soul. So the material cause of the material elements absorb the material body, and the spiritual soul assumes its original position, as described by Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Jivera Swarupaya Krishnera Nityadas. The constitutional position of the living entity is that he is the eternal servant of Krishna. So it's the constitutional position. It can't be changed. We may say, oh, well, I want to change it. I'm not happy about this position. Like in the material world, we keep changing our position. But this position, we can never change. We are for eternally, eternal servant of Krishna. And we have a very loving relationship with him. When one overcomes the material body through cultivation of spiritual knowledge and devotional service, one can revive his own position and thus engage in the service of the Lord. So cultivate spiritual knowledge, engage in devotional service, and in this way, we can revive our own true nature, our pure consciousness, that we are eternal servants of Krishna. So we have to continue to hear and chant, engage in devotional service, continuing to hearing, so we can get the spiritual knowledge, continue to chant. Anyone wanted to add anything? Comments?
Hare Krishna. So spiritual knowledge is very important. We have to try our best to continue to listen and read all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's why hearing, Shravanam, that's the first
Yeah.
in
Yes.
devotional service. Hearing, yes, we
Yes.
have to.
Yes.
Hearing
Without
and
knowledge, we
chanting.
can't surrender. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's right. Thank you. Hearing and chanting must go on because that's how we are watering the seed of bhakti. And we stop it, then the plant dries and bhakti dries. So we have to continue to hear and chant. And we have so many wonderful books, we can take full lifetime to read. There's so much. There's Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Caitaniya Caritamita, Nectar of Devotion. There are
Yeah,
so
but
many
then
amazing.
yes, but then it's also very important. Like we do have so many books, but guru is the most important thing. Without somebody who has the true knowledge and understanding of it, we may not be able to really get the pure knowledge. So we have to be in the right parampara. Yes, yes,
That's right. Yes,
yeah.
that's right.
I personally feel, because I used to love reading, and like I have told you even before, I thought that when I used to read it by myself, I got a wrong perspective of things and couldn't really understand it rightly compared to how I'm learning from you. It's very different. It's getting. I really feel that I'm getting that uh, right understanding.
Me
Yeah.
too, ever since I've
Yes.
started reading with you all, I feel I can understand better too.
Oh, thank you.
So it's better.
Thanks to
That's why
you too.
Kirtan is better,
Hare
That's
Krishna,
why
Hare Krishna.
Kirtanam,
Yes,
Sankirtan.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, we need
Oh
to
my
study
God.
together.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes, Hare Krishna.
thank you. Hare Krishna. Shall we quickly read this last one or you want to stop
Yes,
here?
yes, yes. We have time. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yatakshasu manobuddhis
Yatakshasi manobuddhis
tatvadriktvasta bandhana
tattvadritvasta bandhana
astita paramam yogam
astita paramam yogam
na deham bubude gatam.
na deham babuddhi gatam.
Dadichi Muni controlled his senses, life force, mind, and intelligence and became absorbed in trance. Thus, he cut all his material bonds. He could not perceive how his material body became separated from his self. So, his soul, he's understood. He separated himself from this gross and subtle bodies. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 8.5, Antakale cha mam eva smaran muktva kalevara ya prayati samadbhavam yati nasti atra samshaya. Whoever at the time of death quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. So Lokanath Maharaj was saying he was there with Gopal Krishna Maharaj. When Gopal Krishna Maharaj was leaving his body, Lokanath Maharaj was there and he loudly chanted Hare Krishna. And Maharaj says that he saw Gopal Krishna Maharaj also, his mouth moving Hare Krishna. He's saying, of course, the sound didn't come because he was so weak, but he said Hare Krishna. So, of course, one must practice before one is overcome by death. But the perfect yogi, namely the devotee, dies in trance, thinking of Krishna. He does not feel his material body being separated from his soul. The soul is immediately transferred to the spiritual world. Tyakpa deham punarjanma naiti mameti. The soul does not enter the womb of a material mother again, but is transferred back home, back to Godhead. It's wonderful, no? Krishna has made so many arrangements for us that somehow or the other we can remember him, we chant his name, we engage in devotional service, and we can go back home. So we can see how eager Krishna is to have us back with him. This yoga, bhakti yoga, is the highest yoga system, as explained by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita 6.47. Yoginam api sarvesham matkatena antaratmana Shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamo mataha. Of all yogis who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. So Krishna is saying, who is the highest yogi? That's the bhakti yogi. The bhakti yogi always thinks of Krishna, and therefore at the time of death, he can very easily transfer himself to Krishna Lok without even perceiving the pains of death. So this is the glory of the devotee, that while he's living, he is engaged in devotional service. After he leaves his body, he continues engaging in devotional service in the spiritual world. We'll stop here for today. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki